How are you doing?
Am I doing well? I had my everybody there for 2 weeks. I am exhausted.
I'm sure you are.
On the other hand, it was very helpful. On the other hand, I went straight to Thanksgiving.
Was it at your house?
My house, of course it is.
My girls would call for everything. My son never called about anything.
Hey. All right, thank you, Fred.
I was like, oh, I found this job on LinkedIn, but I'm not on LinkedIn. Can you apply for me? I'm like,
It was okay.
I'm like, get a LinkedIn account. I'm not doing your.
You're gonna need it eventually.
And then I of course I looked at it because I can't help myself. And I'm like, oh, you
Can you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, November 28th. It is a little past 7:30. We just came from executive session where we discussed non-union compensation. The first item on our agenda is Resolution 1, considering a request of an extension exemption of Chapter 158, Section 2.1 of the Village Code regarding a seasonal leaf blower ban for Avon Circle.
Whereas on April 11th, 2023, the Board of Trustees approved a local law enacting a seasonal gas-powered leaf blower ban from May 1st to September 30th, effective May 1st of next year. And whereas under the Village Code, properties with at least 5 acres of property can apply to the Village Board for a full or partial extension or exemption of the local law. And whereas an application has been distributed to known eligible properties of the Village of Rybrook and also placed on the Rybrook website. And whereas on September 29th, 2023, representatives of Avon Circle submitted an application for an exemption from the requirements of the local law requiring a seasonal ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. Now therefore be resolved that after consideration of the intent of the local law, as well as considerations raised in the application from representatives of Avon Circle, the Village Board of Trustees hereby either denies, approves, or approves with conditions the request for the exemption of the Village Code enacting a seasonal leaf blower ban for Avon Circle.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have representatives from Avon Circle with us? Can you please introduce yourself? And
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Rosabella. I am the property manager for Avon Circle. I've managed the property since 2009. We're 14.2 acres. It's a large piece of property. We have many, 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 many beautiful trees that shed a lot of leaves. And to ban the gas blower would be very devastating to us. We have 2 men. We have 2 gas blowers, which we use. What we've done to try to cut down on the usage, we've made, I have them do multiple piles now. We'll do piles as many as 10, 12, 14 piles. And with the help of Mike from Brook, we're allowed to dump on Lincoln Avenue, so that's a little help, and that helps the cost there. We have a landscaper that comes in, and he sucks it up with a vacuum cleaner or whatever, and he dumps it there. We only have 2 men, and the leaves start falling there mid-October, and they fall until the first week in December. I think we did our last cleanup maybe today, and maybe at the end of the week we'll have 1 more, and that's it. You know, we try to limit the use of the blowers as much as possible. I'm happy to work with Brook, as I've done in the past on other matters, but to ban the gas blowers is really tough. The battery pack, and this is one of the biggest things, it's not even the cost, it's just the function of the battery. The battery pack blower, a good one, and this is through Argento in White Plains, where most guys buy their equipment. A good battery pack blower is $899. It comes with 2 batteries. The batteries combined last approximately 50 minutes, which means they have 50 minutes of work, then they'd have to go back and charge it. Additional batteries are $329 each. So it does become an expense, but the problem with the other blowers, the battery blowers, is the 690 cubic feet per minute opposed to the gas, which is up to 1,000. So there's a big difference on the amount it does. The other blowers would take probably twice as long to do it. So, you know, we're looking to extend the your policy. We'd like to have it omitted completely from us, but, you know, if we could get a year extension or a 2-year extension, we'll work with you. I mean, you know, if we could try a gas blower, but I know from experience from other landscapers that are trying them that they just don't do the job.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Just because you were talking about the leaves.
Right.
The policy actually allows gas-powered leaf blowers during the leaf season. Are you only using the gas-powered blowers during the leaf season, or are you
I
using?
read this wrong, though. My apologies. I thought they wanted to stop the leaf blowing during the leaf season, the gas.
No.
No.
No,
The opposite.
We only use them during the leaf season.
Oh,
You only
no.
use.
This
So
is
the
from-
current, from,
During the summer.
it's only
So
a
what's the month?
it's May 1st to September 30th is the ban.
After September 30th.
After September
gas-powered
30th,
can be
gas
used.
is fine.
Prior to that, we may use it to clean the parking lots. I mean, you know, we got big roads there, and unfortunately, they're private. I don't know why they did it that way. I would much rather if it was a Rye Brook Road, because we would but we got to pay for a plow. But that's how they did it with their.
The next meeting.
Yeah. And, no, I mean, prior to that date, I mean, we use them very limited. I mean, I thought it was the ban with the gas, the way I understood
The
it.
ban is only during, in the non-prime season. It's from May 1st to September 30th.
Yeah.
It doesn't even apply to us then, I mean.
Well,
But I mean, I would still like to use a gas blower if we had to, but it's very limited if we use it. It's only for maybe blowing some dirt off the sidewalks or something like that. It's very, very limited.
and I think what the hope is that for that
Limited
time
use.
period, for that limited use, there would be electric blowers used during that time.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's,
Maybe that's an opportunity. I know they're expensive, but maybe just to buy one or invest in one with just one
I have no problem
battery.
with that.
Just
So
for
it's-
Try
the
during the
we
summer.
can use the gas blowers
After
October 1st,
Yep.
straight through,
April
from
3rd.
October 1st. All right.
And then spring.
Straight through till
And then
April.
spring through the end of
Yeah,
April.
Yeah.
straight through to the end of April.
Yeah, like
So-
a lot of people have coming before us are saying that they're working on investing in electric gas blowers, and that's why they would like an extension to give them a little
Well, we
more
would have to
time.
get a battery. Electric, we'd need a cord from here
Yeah.
to.
battery. Battery.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, battery.
The
So
cord
if you
would be,
think
the
that you
cord would be
can-
too heavy for them to carry, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that you'd be able to handle the off-season load
That's not.
with an electric, then you wouldn't need the exemption.
Right, right.
Because then we would, then as soon as it hits October 1st and those leaves start falling,
Right, right.
you can use the gas-powered blowers.
All right, well, I
So-
mean,
Sir, how many houses are in Avon Circle?
there's 170 units.
Because
43 buildings.
Okay, because any cost you have would be divided amongst 170 people
Yes,
then. So
yes.
even if a battery costs $350,
No.
we're talking $2 a head.
Well, I don't want to go into that point, but we just had a $2 million assessment for a flood, which everyone knows about. That comes from the Brook, and we hit the people for the average assessment was around $11,000. We have a lot of seniors there, so I'm there since 2009. We've only had 2 common charge increases. I'm very frugal with their money, and to raise it. Now we're getting a 3% raise January 1 because of flood insurance. Our flood insurance went from $50,000 to $150,000. So it's tough, and a nickel here or 300 here, it's not a big deal, but it
Adds up.
adds up. And,
Yeah,
and to me, it's more the time consuming. We have 2 very good workers there, but if it takes them an extra 2 hours a day, times 5, that's 10 hours I'm losing with them.
Right.
With the leaf blowers.
Right.
But if we have to just use it starting October 1, I think I could get by with that.
All right, then, 2 points that I would bring up. One, I would say, Regarding the flooding, we're certainly trying to do our part to limit the flooding downstream with, and upstream of you with lots of different projects. What I would maybe suggest then is maybe that we don't vote on this.
No, you can withdraw.
Yeah.
It sounds like the application's being withdrawn,
It
and
sounds that
and
way.
I don't think a motion and a second was made on the resolution.
It was not.
So,
So there's really no
so that's
action that
fine.
we have.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any
No
action
action
we
to
have to
do.
take.
So we really can't use to make it simple, we can't use it before September 30th. We can use the gas after September 30th.
That's correct.
I can live with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Even in the spring up until May
yeah, with the
1st.
spring cleaning also, it's really just until May 1st. So May 1st through September 30th, no, but the rest of the year, yes.
Give them a battery one to play with after that.
There we go. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
You too.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to resolution number 2. Very similar. Considering a request for an extension exemption of Chapter 158, Section 2.1 of the Village Code regarding a seasonal leaf blower ban for Talcott Woods.
Whereas on April 11th, 2023, the Board of Trustees approved a local law enacting the seasonal gas-powered leaf blower ban from May 1st to September 30th, starting May 1st of next year. And whereas under the Village Code, properties with at least 5 acres of property are eligible to apply for a full or partial exemption or extension. And whereas the application has been distributed to the Village of Rye Brook and the eligible properties as well as placed on our website. And whereas on November 1st, 2023, representatives of Talcott Woods submitted an application for an exemption from the requirements of the local law requiring a seasonal ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. Now therefore be it resolved that after consideration of the intent of the local law, as well as consideration of raised in the application from representatives of Talcott Woods, the Village of Rye Brook Board of Trustees hereby either denies, approves, or approves with conditions the request for an exemption of the Village Code enacting a seasonal leaf blower ban for Talcott Woods.
Thank you, Chris. And we have a representative from Talcott Woods.
Good evening. My name is Richard Mast. I live at 6 Talcott Road. I'm the president of our homeowners association. And I think you know Vito Longo, our landscaper of almost 20 years. You have a package that we sent to Greg. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to read the letter, our scout program, and view the photos that we sent as well that detail what our property looks like. If you don't mind, I'd like to just read through the letter. I'll be quick. But just so everybody can hear it once out loud. Ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Trustees, Talcott Woods, located in between Lincoln Avenue and Bonwit Road, is one of the first HOAs to be established in Westchester County in 1978. Our development consists of more than 25 acres and includes a combination of 68 privately owned homeowner lots, as well as substantial acreage of common property that runs all throughout our development from the bottom to the top of Talcott Road, as well as along 2 extensive man-made stream beds on either side of our development. Collectively, our 68 homeowners pay real estate taxes of over $1,500,000. The Talcott Woods Owners Association is managed by a 7-member volunteer board of directors, all current homeowners, who are completely responsible for the management of the entire property, including both private and common areas. The board manages a budget of almost $500,000 annually, largely utilized to maintain our development, which includes the 68 aforementioned private homeowner lots, including front, back, and side yards, the common properties, a substantial pond, a swimming pool and a pool house, a 1,500-foot fence along Crawford Park, 8 cul-de-sac islands and roadways, and our 2 stream beds. Our community of homeowners takes great pride in the appearance of our entire development and takes great pains and expense to maintain our properties for our benefit, of course, but also to present ourselves to prospective new movers into Rye Brook, as well as to the hundreds of citizens that drive through our development every single day, sometimes way too fast. The board employs Vito Longo Landscaping, Central Tree Service, American Pool Management, The Pond Connection, New England Aquatics, American Minutemen, as well as several other vendors to provide ongoing services to our community in order to keep our property pristine and to serve as a model Village of Rybrook place to live. These vendors, all locally sourced, ensure the natural health of our lawns, our landscaping, our hundreds of trees, and our waterways. We keep our pond ecologically sound by dredging, adding minnows every spring, and running 2 fountains from April through October. Mosquito dunks are installed seasonally in all wet areas on our property to reduce the bug population and to protect our waterways from insect larvae. We utilize a scout program, and that's attached to your package, through Central Tree Service to ensure our hundreds of trees are inspected on a regular basis by professional arborists for potential disease, are treated with organic chemicals 4 times a year, and are kept alive and healthy. Through the Scout program, diseased or dying trees are removed and replaced with new younger ones on an ongoing basis all year long. We pave our cul-de-sac roadways and replant our flowers and cul-de-sac shrubs as needed. We also maintain and clear the 30 storm drains on our common property every year and have them inspected by an outside expert, as well as servicing 1,500 feet of underground piping. All of this is done with the intent of maintaining an eco-healthy community of which our entire village can be proud. We have an architectural committee, a maintenance committee, and a compliance committee, all used to ensure that Talcott Woods is well maintained and looks pleasing and immaculate to all of our visitors, prospective new movers, as I said, and passers-by all year long. We formally inspect every aspect of our community and the exterior of our homes 4 times a year for proper upkeep and maintenance compliance. In terms of lawn and leaf maintenance, Vito Longo Landscaping performs mowing, blowing, pruning, mulching, feeding, seeding, and the removal of clippings, leaves, branches, and various other natural debris every Monday from April through December. Such removal requires 6 to 10 men and is performed every Monday from 8:30 to 4:30. Vito uses mulching blades to mow each week in order to minimize the amount of blowing and the amount of dumping. All of the above is critical to not only keep our entire development clean, but also to keep both our waterways, which run along the left and right sides of our property, from top to bottom, free and clear of all debris so the water can flow downward and not bleed onto private homeowner property. This is a painstaking and time-consuming task that Vito's men perform for us. Excuse me. The new law requiring conversion from gas blowers to electric ones will pose a great problem for us and for our landscaping vendor. Electric blowers require many batteries, which generally carry a working life of about 1 to 2 hours and need to be recharged for almost 4 hours after each use. As such, the batteries will constantly have to be installed and removed and then recharged literally all day long during the weekly cleanup process. Where would all these batteries be kept during the course of the day? Where would they be stored when not in use? Who would maintain them? How often would they have to be replaced? Clearly, you can see the issues with the battery management process, in addition to the expense to both the contractor and our 68 homeowners in terms of numbers of new blowers, batteries, and chargers that would be needed to cover our 25 acres. We also believe that using such less effective equipment will require more men, more time to perform the various cleanup tasks, and may well create even more noise and more air particulates. Vito and the board have always tried to keep leaf blower activity to a minimum by limiting it to a one-day only activity and by using Mondays as our cleanup day, with the assumption that the majority of our homeowners are out at their workplaces rather than interrupting their weekend activities. We also feel very strongly, after many hours of listening to and observing Vito's men in action, that the leaf blower noise does not intrude in any way beyond our property into other neighboring streets. We certainly respect what the village board is trying to accomplish in terms of being eco-friendly. We think the various green-friendly programs we have outlined demonstrate that we support you in this goal. We also very much appreciate the opportunity to present to you our appeal for a period of exclusion from the new law. In a spirit of cooperation and concession, we are proposing to make some adjustments to our current Monday maintenance program in the hopes that the village board will grant us a 2-year exclusion from the new leaf blowing law in order to allow the village and the community to see if the new law is viable and if it is working well where it has been implemented. And so we propose the following. Number 1, during the months of July and August, Behind houses 20 to 32 and 60 to 68, we will utilize only one gas blower and implement the use of 4 or more electric blowers. Number 2, from May 1st to September 30th, we will reprogram all of our gas blowers to run at half throttle all the time while clearing both our common property and the 68 private properties. In doing so, this will dramatically reduce noise and air particulates. We appreciate your consideration in this matter and again formally request an exclusion at least from May 2024 to May 2026 to allow some time for electric blower experimentation, for our own budgeting adjustments, and even more importantly, for technology to catch up to our 25-acre unique needs. We also invite the board to come take a tour of our 25 acres so you can see the extent of the maintenance that we're talking about. And I'd be happy to take you on that tour.
All right, thank you. So, I can only speak for myself, not for the rest of the board. My personal feeling is that, based on what we've done in the past, I think this would be more of a 1-year granting. I don't see this as a 2-year. I mean, using a couple of electric blowers behind a few of the houses for just 2 months, I don't think represents what we've seen from some of the other applicants. But we certainly understand the difficulties that, the changeover, might incur for the larger properties. That's why we put it into the local law. We understand that, for the larger properties, a lot of times you're into agreements with the landscaper. Out of curiosity, when does that I'm assuming you're in contract currently. When does that contract expire?
I'm not sure how that's relevant, but we just renewed a 3-year contract recently,
Okay.
and have no intentions of getting out of that contract.
Right.
And he's never retiring. I have that in writing.
I'll open this up to comment from the board.
I'm just curious, what is unique about the houses 20 through
thinking that
32 and 60 through 68?
I'm Vito Longo. I'm the landscaper at Talcott. I've been here for 20 years. Those areas are areas where Talcott is directly connected with the resident, either on Bonwit or Elm Hill. So we're saying those areas we don't want to intrude on other residents with using electric blowers and that. The rest of it's all wooded area. There is no direct contact with any other resident besides the people at Talcott. The biggest thing with Talcott, it's a big place. It's got a lot of trees and it's got a lot of grass areas. And it's not like you go to one place, you cut that one house and you move on. We got 68 houses we have to cut and just continue and continue. As Richard said, all our mowers have mulching blades. Mulching blades are great for April, half of May, June, July, and half of September. Second half of May and June, they're terrible because that's when the grass grows the quickest and the heaviest. And when you're using these mulching blades, you leave chunk of grass throughout the area. And if you don't remove them, it becomes brown. As we said, those areas we do still need the gas blower just for the power. As we had a couple of months ago, we had a demonstration of gas blower versus electric, and there's a big difference. And also a difference in the weight and the equipment, which also will be a problem. But I think for us, we need to get up to the speed where the battery power blowers are more compatible or stronger. And I don't think it's going to be this year. Maybe in 2 years it'll be there. But to get there, we need some sort of gas during the summer. July and August it won't be an issue because there ain't that much stuff that we need to blow. So, but May and June is very important that we do have some excess using a gas blower because there's a lot of property, there's a lot of lawn area. When you drive through Talcott, you don't think there's not a lot of lawns. You go in the backyards, there's a lot of lawn areas and a lot of grass accumulates. And we don't bag any of the grass to go throw it out. We just spread it out wherever we could throughout the lawns. So I think that's the biggest key. Down the road, yeah, we'll probably all be there with battery operated, but I think it's gonna be a couple years before we get there.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi Vito, do you have any battery operated?
Yes, we have battery operated, as the gentleman said, we bought it from Argentos. Theirs is, it's, it's not like a real big commercial use. We have one that lasts about an hour or two, and it's not that powerful. Rybrook, we went to a couple of demonstrations that Michael had, and their blowers, which are more commercial, they're way more expensive. It costs you $1,500 for a blower, which comes with a battery, and then you need an additional battery, because that battery only lasts from 40 minutes to an hour. So you need, what a gas blower does in one day, I need a battery operated with 5 or 6 batteries. And those batteries are very expensive. They're not $300 or $400, they're $700, $800 each, plus, and each charge is about $350. So that's definitely a big expense, which we're gonna have to, we'll do it slowly, but I think doing it all at once, where it's a big expense, and I'm sure they're not willing to absorb that cost.
Yeah. So just to be clear, because the letter I think is so a 1-year exemption, Chris, that would basically mean that they can use the gas right up until May of 26, correct?
No, 1-year extension would be for 2024,
24,
basically.
right up to 25.
Yeah.
Right.
What we do is we usually sunset it
Right,
on
so it's
October of
23.
2024. This way you have time to either say, okay, everything's great, we can do it, or we need to request another extension.
Right.
I think with the size of the property that's there, with the amount of trees and the amount of grass areas, I don't think 1 year
I'm only doing 1 year.
was enough for us. I think 2 years. Slowly,
That's a-
we'll slowly transition into it.
Right. I mean, just to what we've this is probably our 6th hearing,
Seventh. It's our
seventh. This is our 7th hearing on these, and we've had differences in what's been presented to us. You just saw the one before it, and the only twice have we granted a 2-year exemption, and on those part of the exemption was written in that they were only going to use electric on any of the hardscapes. So we're talking about all sidewalks, driveways, anything like that. So I mean, it doesn't mean that a year from now you wouldn't be coming back and getting another 1-year exemption. It's just we think that we put this law in place for a reason, and we're trying to move progressively forward. And so it's it's more to us about where are we going to stand a year and a half from now.
Excuse me. My name is Debbie Weltman. I live at 46 Talcott. I'm the treasurer of Talcott Woods. I think the one thing that was not emphasized by these gentlemen is the fact that we have these 2 stream beds, and they lead to the pond. And that's what differentiates Talcott from all the other HOAs that you've seen. We spend thousands of dollars. We spent $80,000 building one of the stream beds, okay? They have to be kept clean. And they have to be kept clean to keep the water from going into the homeowners, but they also have to be kept clean so that the debris is not going into the pond, which then goes into the brook. So I think that's something that needs to be emphasized when thinking about Talcott's exemption.
Yeah, those streams she's talking, one goes right along Crawford Park. We built that about 15 years ago because what was happening, there was a lot of water coming off, and a lot of the residents in that area were getting flooded. So we built this swale, which takes the water around and brings it down to the brook. Then on the other side, on the Bonwood side, there's also a stream that has to be kept clean all the time because the water comes through there and empties out into the pond and it goes into the Rye Brook. And they do accumulate a lot of debris because it's all in a wooded area.
Understood.
I have a question, Vito. So, do you think, like, during those months, where it's not the leaves that you're worrying about, it's the grass, like how Jason was just saying on hardscapes, a lot of the other HOAs have said, they would try and use the battery powered on the hardscapes, not necessarily on the lawns, blowing the grass, which it seems like.
Like on driveways and walkways, yes. Whereas the big areas with the clumps of grass, it's going to be a little bit harder. But we have no on a hardscape, like on a sidewalk, on a walkway, we could do it. Probably the road not, but we clean the road too. But sidewalks and patios, we could use those.
So I mean, my initial instinct here, and I'll let the board, weigh in. My initial instinct here is to grant the exemption, as presented for 1 year.
I think 1 year is good. See, like you say, technology may change, things may
Yeah.
change.
So it would be, as applied for, to grant the exemption, but for the 1 year instead of the 2. Just means you might have to come back next year, that's all.
We appreciate that. Do you mind a question?
Sure,
And you said you gave two-year exemptions.
that's correct.
May we know to whom they were given?
One was to, blanking on the name.
Which ones?
Hidden Falls
Hidden Falls,
and,
Belfair, and the Arbors.
so 3, Belfair and Arbors, right.
Partial. Yeah.
But we also,
they
Jimmy
offered
also
more electric use
talked to them
during their
about using
seasons
half
to incorporate.
throttle. They also had to use.
Well, that was, there were 2 separate things. The one for Hidden Falls was a certain percentage of the property.
They said they would
And
do
that
half
was half.
They are using some electric and they are also
Yes, that
using
was
half
their
throttle as well.
We were willing.
Right.
We are willing to use the battery operated blowers as well as use one gas blower during those months of May and June. In July and August, unless there's a storm, we don't need to use them. We'll get away with battery operated. It's just, it's May and June which are the tough months because there's a lot of grass and the grass accumulates and it takes us a lot of time if we had to hand rake it.
If I could just pursue this line for a second, the areas where you granted the 2 years, the Arbors, Belfair, and,
Hidden Falls.
Hidden Falls.
are those larger properties than 25 acres?
It's, what, each one has, like you talked about with the streams and the swales and that's why some of the board allowed for certain exemptions to come in, because they recognize each one of these larger parcels has different attributes on those properties that raises these issues. So,
Right.
so each one, it's not just the size, it has to do more with, what people are facing when they're cleaning the properties. And in the other cases, I think it's just fair to say that there was more offering of incorporating electric over that 2-year period. Accurate?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will accept the 1 year and appreciate it, and we'll see how the technology goes.
Right, but with the other considerations.
All right.
That's what they offered. Right.
Yeah, as the
Right.
letter's written.
Yeah.
So just, why don't I try to clarify?
Please, Chris, yep.
So basically, this is
Would be-
granting,
it would be
granting
granting.
an extension through October 1st, 2024, which really gets you to 2025,
Yep.
but gives you time to ask for another extension, based with the following conditions. And those conditions are from July and August on homes 20 through 32, and from 60 to 68, there would be 1 gas allowed, and the rest would be electric. And from May 1st to September 30th, the gas power would be at half throttle.
Is everyone
Yeah.
okay with that?
Yep.
All right. Great.
Thank you very much.
I think we
call
have.
for a
So can I have a
motion,
motion and a
second,
second,
and a
please,
vote.
as amended, or not as amended, as.
As amended.
Okay.
I second.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Greg?
Appreciate it.
Trustee Epstein?
So, yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
So thorough.
Trustee Morlino? Yes. Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, resolution number 3. Sorry, it's loading. Considering an intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Westchester County for Police Department Communications.
Whereas Westchester County has issued the Village of Rybrook Police Department with radios for the Police Department communications, and whereas the county seeks to update the Police Department antenna so it's compatible with the county-issued radios, and whereas the Village of Rybrook seeks to enter into an IMA with Westchester County to provide the required modifications for Police Department communications, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approves an agreement with Westchester County to provide required modifications to the Police Department antenna to ensure effective Police Department communication systems, subject to modification by council. And be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are hereby authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved. Second.
All right, this seems pretty straightforward. Communications equipment. Well,
Yeah.
all right. I think, Chris, do you mind taking roll?
Oh, sure. Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And I believe we're moving to resolution 5.
Yeah, but I can give a little update on 4 if you like. Just to
Sure.
say-
Can you please give a little?
Yeah, it's good news. So we've been working on this one for a while, and Westchester County has now completed all of the approvals through the. It's been through the Stormwater Advisory Board. It's been through the County Planning Department. It's been the Board of Legislators, their committees, back again, and now the County Board of Legislators has awarded Rybrook a basically $3.6 million grant towards the $8.2 million project at Avon Circle in the Portchester Middle School. There's still steps and hurdles that we need to get through, but this is a significant one. It's almost half of the funding. I think when this project started, it was half the funding. And the next step now is we're seeking the balance of funds for basically $4.6 million through other grants, and there's applications in process now to try to get the balance of funding. So the steps that are still needed, we're seeking grants for the balance of the project cost, as well as we'll have to have renewed IMAs with the Portchester Middle School and easement agreements with both the middle school and the school district and Avon Circle. So it's a big hurdle, but it's a good step, significant step at this time. And this is going to be hopefully before the board at the next meeting. They're just going to incorporate language into the agreement that reflects the additional steps that still need to occur.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the update, and we hope to see that back on the agenda soon. And hopefully we can
Yeah.
find the rest of the money,
And more money
which would be phenomenal.
would be.
Especially how we heard how, flood insurance is going up for those in Avon
That's
Circle.
a big increase, yeah.
It's a very big increase. It's almost tripling.
Well-
Hopefully this will help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth is, they're making, if I can talk to it on an insurance basis,
Right.
they're paying out a lot of losses
Right.
in a record amount of time, and they're also paying out losses to people that were not paying for insurance.
Right. No, and we understand that. It's,
Okay, and
we're just
so,
trying to do our part to help out the community, though.
and I think we're doing it's great. How's it going with the houses?
On Brook Lane?
Yeah.
I'll give an update on that.
Okay, sorry about that.
No,
Okay.
I'll be happy to give an update.
All right, moving on to resolution number 5. Considering the fiscal year 2022-23 budget transfer and closing of capital projects.
Now therefore be resolved that the following transfer between capital projects is hereby approved in the current fiscal year, 23-24. And that's from the sewer check truck to the large truck and salter account in the amount of $3,497. Be it further resolved that the project balance remaining in the bucket truck capital project be transferred to the general fund and reappropriated to the highway maintenance budget for the purpose of purchasing harnesses and training on the operation of the bucket truck as follows, and it's a transfer from the capital bucket truck account interfund transfer in the amount of $6,200, and then moved over to increasing appropriations for the interfund transfers in the same amount. And highway maintenance is also increasing the highway maintenance accountant for highway supplies, $2,200. Highway maintenance education and training, $4,000, and increasing revenues in the capital, the amount of $6,200. And be it further resolved that the following capital projects with zero remaining balance in fiscal year 23-24 be closed and removed from the project length schedule. And that's the sewer jet truck, the bucket truck, the AJP roof repair replacement, firehouse, exterior doors, stain, and painting.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
And if you can follow all that. I
Yeah.
think you,
Well, in summary, it's very straightforward, other than the language always in
Closing
the
out, right.
resolutions. But basically, what it's doing is we're closing out projects that are completed, and we had a small balance in one account for the bucket truck that we just want to use. We have now the bucket truck. We need to buy harnesses and get some training. So it has to move from a capital project to an operating budget. That's it.
Great. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you.
And all those transfers keep us out of trouble with the auditors.
I know exactly. Well, that's why we're squeaky clean every year. I know. It's what would we do without these? Thank you, Trish, for keeping track of
Exactly.
All right. Resolution number 6, considering a modification to the license and fee schedule.
Whereas the Board of Trustees holds a Winterfest celebration every year on the first Friday in September, and whereas the Superintendent of Public Works would like to add vendors for crafts, another source of entertainment for the event, and whereas the proposed fee to participate is $100 with $50 returned upon arrival, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves modifying the license and fee schedule by adding the following fee, and that's a craft table for Winterfest, $100 with $50 returned upon arrival.
Was that those one?
Oh, it says Superintendent of Public Works as the Superintendent of Recreation.
150. Is it 150?
150 with a $50.
No, it's
$50 per table.
we were suggesting, and we're having a hard time even getting people because they said that's a lot to make up.
I know,
Okay.
I feel like just give it, I mean,
Well, no, we need something so that they show up.
Yeah, we've had that problem.
No, that's.
If
I
the
think
board
this
wants
is fine.
to change it, it's up to you.
No,
guys,
let's
but
keep it at the 100. All right, so it's 100.
100 and
with
50 comes back.
50 on arrival. Okay. Well, I'm interested to see whether they're signing
Small
up.
crafts, it's 3 hours. You
Yeah.
probably get back to $50. We're not making much on this. It's just really
No, it's really to provide a service for those that are
Correct.
attending. Something that they can potentially purchase some things.
Yep.
For the holiday.
Exactly.
yeah.
Hopefully the weathermen are wrong.
What's that?
I feel like it's
Hopefully the
gonna be
weathermen are wrong.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Saying it's freezing, what are they saying?
Raining.
A little bit
Possible
rainy,
rain.
Possible rain in the
Why
afternoon.
don't we ever think about?
So
rain
I
dates?
think this is something. I think it's worth a shot. I think it's something interesting to try out at Winterfest. I think we definitely need to change from Superintendent of Public Works.
That's good.
Maybe Michael can have a table.
Yeah,
Bake some cookies.
we could use some extra tables.
Surplus. We
They've
can
been-
give away the surplus.
I know the rec council's been trying to get up interest on people to get tables. So
Right, so
I think
we'll
last week we only had one, so we're trying to get
All
a
right.
few
Well,
more.
let's see how it works out, and then we'll know. Whether we want to. And
Yep.
maybe next year with more advertising farther in advance,
Absolutely,
then maybe we're able to.
it's a good idea.
But it's definitely worth a shot. I think it's. I'm fine. At least changing the fee schedule.
yes,
That's really all we're doing. We're not
correct.
approving any or disapproving any tables. We're just changing the fee schedule.
Yep.
You should have a vendor selling umbrellas.
Why
don't we have it
That would be. They would probably make good money.
Very good money.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this?
No.
Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes. Thank you, and hopefully it works out well.
Yes.
We'll see. Resolution number 7, considering the award of bids for surplus of municipal vehicles and equipment.
Whereas on November 14th of this year, the board declared certain municipal vehicles as equipment for surplus, vehicles and equipment as surplus. And whereas we solicited bids for the surplus of those 7 vehicles and 2 pieces of equipment. And whereas a public notice was advertised in the official newspaper on November 17th, and listings were posted through Auctions International with a bid end date of November 26th. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rybrook hereby awards the following equipment to the highest bidder. There was a 1993 Ford cab and plow, 3150. 1998 Ford L8000 dump truck with plow and salter, 5700. The Ford dump truck with plow and salter, 1998 13,100. 1998 Ford sewer jet truck, 5600. 1995 emergency E1 Quint aerial truck, 4650. 1997 Ford dump truck with plow and salter, 4550. 2019 Henderson V-Box sander, $35.50. Ingersoll Rand compressor, $510. And be it further resolved that the village, should any bidder withdraw or be non-responsive, the Village of Rybrook Village Board hereby awards the equipment to the next highest bidder.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I'm really sad to see the aerial truck going.
Old reliable.
Old reliable. That thing has been so good for us.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
a
sad
shame,
day.
but
But
we
it
understand
currently
that this has
needs
to happen.
new pistons and needs a weld on its
Right.
ladder. It's our investment into it, but particularly it's not our frontline vehicle anymore.
Right.
It's just time to go.
It is. It's sad to see. It reminds me of. Oh, anyway.
I think that before our next one, we can have a picture day for the village kids with the.
Waving goodbye.
Wait,
Waving goodbye to
I'm
that.
saying, you know how popular trucks are, et cetera.
Right.
So why not have take
Right, a
picture
little,
of it.
a little going away party. And, any questions or comments on this? Anything here?
Hey, Chuck, you could film a new one.
Questions or comments?
No.
No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 8, considering amended and restated agreement between the Village of Rybrook and the Superintendent of Public Works.
Whereas at the regular
Only if he buys a table.
for craft table. At the meeting held on October 7th, 2019, the Board of Trustees approved a management employment agreement with Michael Nowak, and said agreement was executed on December 9th, 2019, for a term beginning on October 1st, 2019, and ending on September 30th, 2024. And whereas the village and employee desire to continue as the employee and as superintendent of public works for the village of Rybrook, and enact an amended and restated management employment agreement, otherwise known as an amended agreement, for an additional 5 years beyond the prior agreement. And whereas the amended agreement includes, but not limited to, the following modifications effective December 1st of 2023. The annual salary of the superintendent of public works shall be $170,000. The village provided vehicle can be used for limited personal use in the states of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. C, post-employment health and dental premiums shall be covered in full by the village unless Mr. Nowak leaves to become employed elsewhere after the agreement and does not retire, in which case he shall reimburse the village for 100% of the health and dental premiums until such times as he retires. D, a professional development and other employment is restated and clarified in the amended agreement. And now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves an amended and restated management employment agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Michael Nowak as Superintendent of Public Works through September 30th, 2029. And be it further resolved that the Mayor and Administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution, with any reasonable modifications approved by Council based on the intent of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I'd be the first to say, Michael, how appreciative we are of what you've done for this village, how important we think you are as an employee to this village, and how much you bring here. And certainly we are very proud to be entering into a longer-term agreement with you to keep you here in Rybrook.
Woohoo.
I would be second, but I've already indicated on Thanksgiving that I don't say anything nice until the holiday season.
And I would just add, Michael does a great job working for the Village of Rybrook. We're very lucky to have him here. The community is, and I think it's a really great fit for him as well. I think it's a nice match for both Michael and the village, and I think everyone benefits. But he's earned everything that's in the agreement, and he's done just a great job. He's always there for us, and he's just a key person who goes over and above and beyond. He always wears a lot of hats and a lot of different responsibilities, and be hard to replace. So we're glad to make that commitment on behalf of the village, and glad that you're open to doing the same.
Michael, you wouldn't need to wear so many hats if you let your hair grow a little bit.
Ba-dum-bum.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
No,
You can
other
keep
than
'em
we're
going
very
all
lucky to have you.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
With pleasure, yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
He was thinking about it.
and Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 9, considering additional compensation for the police lieutenant.
Whereas the police lieutenant, John Arnold, has performed admirably and took additional responsibilities acting police chief for 3 months in fiscal year 22-23 while maintaining all of his responsibilities as a police lieutenant. And whereas Police Lieutenant John Arnold has received a $10,000 per year stipend as a stipend for providing all work on discovery to Westchester County District Attorney's Office. Now therefore be resolved that John Arnold shall receive a one-time payment of $4,000 for his exemplary service as acting police chief. And be it further resolved that the $10,000 per year stipend for continuing to provide all work on discovery to the County District Attorney's Office shall be incorporated on a prorated basis for 2023-24 into his base salary effective for the payroll period that began on November 23rd, 2023.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Again, this is, the compensation is there anyway for Lieutenant Arnold. This is just making it more official and part of the salary as opposed to stipend, which is really only supposed to be for special work. We know he's continuing this work. We're appreciative to Lieutenant Arnold, everything he does for the village. And, it's been a true pleasure working with him.
It's so much easier if you save all the nice stuff for the holiday season.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. And Greg, please, I'm assuming you'll let John know and pass the nice sentiments along, even though it's outside. It's beyond Thanksgiving.
No. Don't be ruining it for me.
Resolution number 10, considering declaring municipal equipment as surplus.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook has municipal equipment that has no longer a functional value or use to the village and may have resale value, and whereas one item that no longer has functional value and may be surplus by the village is a tow behind leaf vac, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees declares the equipment listed below for disposition by the village in its 1 LL5 OBD tow behind leaf vac, and be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are hereby authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So
Motion.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Administrator's report.
Okay. Couple of items, just for the record, just to put on about the bidding. There was one item that leaf vac was on the bidding, but it hadn't been declared surplus. So I just want to point out that that's now voided. So because it wasn't declared surplus. So by now making a surplus, we can now dispose of that vehicle. Other items, I just want an update on the NRCS program or the buyout program that Trustee Epstein was asking about before. So again, all the appraisals have been completed. Greg accompanied the appraisal firm on most of them, on Brook Lane, Wyman Street, and the two on Rock Ridge. And their deadline is by the end of this year to have all the appraisals done. So that's their target that we put in the RFP for this work. They're probably going to do it in bunches, like groups of 7 or so, and that goes to the state. The state then will make sure that the format and everything is what they need, which we're sure will be fine because this company's done it for other similar NRCS programs in the state. And then the residents, they'll get a copy of the appraisal as well. So there's full transparency. Again, it's not a negotiation. It's either accept or don't accept. And then the residents on those homes are going to have tough decisions. They're going to have 30 days or so to make a decision, which can be extended if it's agreed upon, but about 30 days to say, yes, we accept the number, or no, we don't. And then there's other work that has to happen once we know how many of the 22 are moving forward at that point.
Wow, it's very interesting.
Yeah, so by the end of January, we should have a good sense kind of where everything is.
Did more people join on since they were allowed to?
We had one other, I think, that joined on Rock Ridge, but that was, you guys are aware of that. I mean, that was one of the 22 that we had added.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so that's really moving forward. I think it's kind of hit everybody home now when the appraisers came into people's homes and
they probably
and
really
walked
had to
through.
think,
Now,
yeah.
we're getting those calls saying, we're gonna have to now really come in. There's gonna be hard decisions for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great opportunity, but it's also a big decision for people to make.
Was it water appraising company for all the 22 homes?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had if you remember, we
Yeah.
had that as an agenda item a few months ago.
And it's an appraisal company that's done this
That's
before.
done this program
this
before.
program before, because they have to follow the appraisal
Guidelines.
specification of the federal government.
Government, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Other items. Winterfest is this Friday, so it's going to be beautiful weather.
It will be.
Absolutely.
We're gonna will it.
And we hope so. And we don't know yet, but we hope it will be. And it's sure to be cold, but that's what Winterfest is about. It's always going to be a little cold. It's December. So December 1st at Pine Ridge Park from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's going to be another great event. We're really looking forward to it. Leaf collection is also going very well. Most streets have had either 10 or 11 collections at this point. It's very quick in the beginning and then it slows down. Right now we're on probably the downside of the slope of the hill. So we've probably crested the hill and we're starting to be on the downside. But, we're about 10 days out, which is still a week less than our maximum target, at worst. So we're doing well. So 2 weeks is really good at a peak time period. And, we've made a lot of collections on all the homes. A lot of places don't get, might get 2 or 3 collections. We make sure that people are, it's picked up on a regular basis.
Yeah,
So-
I can vouch for that. I feel the vibration whenever it passes.
Yes.
It's that some machine.
Yes, it sure is. And that's all I have for tonight.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate all the hard work of everyone out there collecting. I know they're out there on Saturdays as well, and really just trying to provide that service to our residents. So, thank you to everyone for all that they're doing involved with that. Do we have any comments from the public? Please.
Hi, I'm Joe Laranga. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I live at 126 North Ridge, and since I moved here 3 years ago, I noticed a huge problem, speeding down North Ridge. It's crazy. So I called up Greg and asked him, what do we do about this? He put me in touch with Sergeant Eric Dengler, and they put a speed sign up outside of my by my mailbox outside my driveway, and they found the average speed on Northridge was 44 miles an hour. The speed limit is 30. I personally observed people flying by at 50, 51, 52 miles an hour, and I have a 4-year-old, and we have to cross the street because my side of the street, I'm on the same side as Crawford Park. So here's Crawford Park's driveway, here's my driveway, and then here's Betsy Brown. So I have to cross the street, and I literally stand there sometimes for 2-3 minutes. Cars just fly by. Nobody stops for pedestrians. Like, I stopped once at Crawford Park for a pedestrian to cross, and someone almost slammed into me. About 2 weeks ago, I'm driving on Northridge, going towards my driveway, slowing down, have my blinker on, and some guy in an Audi Q5 decided to go around me on a double yellow line. That's illegal. Like, that's just crazy. So I'm here to say, what can we do about this? Sergeant Dengler, I told him, he said, the police can't sit on that area of Northridge too much because there's no places to hide. So I said, use my driveway. And they did. And they gave out tickets. And then they stopped. And now I see the speeding going back up. And he said by the end of that little initiative to try to get speeding down from 44 miles an hour, it went down to an average of 37. So, as a person that used to speed when I was 20 years younger, I get it. Everyone has their fast cars, BMWs, Mercedes, they go fast, but you don't have to drive down Northridge and other streets as fast. We need more of a police presence. We need speed cameras, possibly speed bumps, yield to pedestrian signs, anything that will help people slow down and realize, hey, people live here and children live here. And that's the biggest thing. And I live right near Crawford Park. I don't understand how people cross there every day, all day, and cars do not stop. It's, you know, like, are we gonna wait till somebody gets hit? Because, you know, that usually is what happens. Because when I lived in Whitestone, Queens, I was raised there. I was telling the chief before, we kept asking the NYPD to do something about speeding, and they didn't do anything about it until a 15-year-old girl died. A car came speeding down the boulevard and hit her, and literally the front of her torso went to the back. She was just kind of cracked in half. Like, we don't want to see that here. Like, I know I don't. Like, it just scares me. And when my daughter's, like, running out, like, I'm like, Charlotte. And, you know, stopping a car from 30 miles to 0 is pretty easy. Stopping a car from 50 to 0, I don't know the feet, but it grows exponentially. And if a child gets hit, even at 20 miles an hour, they're gone. That's it. So what can we do to start slowing this area down? Like, when I go to Rye Playland Parkway, it's known, like, you don't speed there. Like, the cops are there. You go over 25 miles an hour on a parkway, you get a ticket. Why can't Northridge be like that? Why can't people get off the hutch and be like, I'm on Northridge, the cops are going to get me? Like, that's what we need. We need people to slow down. So, that's big.
So, if I could just make a so I actually live near that area as well. I'm right around the corner from you. So, and we walk into Crawford all the time.
Yeah.
So I've seen it myself. Chris, is this something that I know we've looked at the issue before in the past, probably a few times. Is this something we could send to Traffic Commission, have them?
Yeah, probably on this one, though, my suggestion would be the traffic commission should definitely be involved at some point. Something we did that I'd like to revisit with maybe a different firm, we had a traffic engineer come out and take a look at the area, because one of the questions is, it's a tough area, right? Because people do cross into Crawford, but it's not a controlled intersection. You know, it's no traffic light, there's no stop signs, and there happens to be a difficult rise on Ridge Street in that location that makes visibility limited for vehicles. So one of the things we were looking at was, we were given to a traffic consultant to say, give us some options here. What would help slow down traffic to the point where people can cross safer? Without a traffic light, without, you know, you're not going to get a full stop signs are the wrong tool for the job. So there is a lot of things out there on traffic calming now, you know, road diets, they call them, to, you know, rumbles on different types of pavement, look and feel that lets people know that there's a crossing there. You know, that's one of the things we've looked at, not so much the speeding issue, but how can we more accommodate people that we know are crossing into Crawford on a safer basis, which in essence would slow down when people are crossing. It's a tough one because that rise, but something that maybe we can ask a different traffic engineer to look at, because that just didn't move with that particular engineer. You can, that's what we're talking about, but you'd have to do it in combination with, because it's not a controlled intersection. Some places have done things what they call like road diets, that will squeeze a road, will give you a little bit of people can step into the roadway area that's still raised and part of the sidewalk, so that they get a better view, and it'll slow it down with the road, because the road narrows. That's one. I'm not saying that's the solution. I'm saying is you're seeing that kind of stuff out there. You're seeing different types of crosswalk pavement applications, you know, that people do, so it's very visible that there's a crosswalk there. Sometimes there's lights that show you that, so if there's a visibility problem, you need lights or advanced notification saying there's a crosswalk up ahead, we need to slow down. So there's different things, but I would recommend, it's probably you need an engineer, a traffic engineer for this. So if that's something you want to pursue, I can get a proposal for a traffic engineer.
No, I agree. I think
it's worth getting a proposal.
That would be great, but can we have the police just give out a lot more tickets? Like, I know, like, if I see a cop car pulled over, you know, and somebody's in front of him and they pulled somebody over, I'm gonna start thinking, I should slow down. The cops are here, and if you start seeing that every day and you drive Northridge every day, you're gonna start thinking, all right, I need to slow down, otherwise I'm gonna get a ticket. And points on my license. It could be just as simple as that, like police presence and giving out tickets left and right.
Right.
You know, and before you know it, people will get the hint, like, you can't speed here because the cops will get you. Like, you know.
And sometimes even, I mean, you said it's been out there before, but sometimes even just having the camera where it flashes.
Yeah, I
So
said
it's
to
down,
Sergeant
so-
Daniel, I said, do you have a police car that you're not using? Park it on my lawn. You put a cop car on a lawn. NYPD does it all the time in different various places in Queens, and boom, it's on Waze. Everyone's like cop, police present, and you look in the police car, and there's no police officer in there. It's just a car. I'm like, I don't care if you kill my grass. Like, if it slows people down, do it. Like, you know, I just.
We should buy a surplus car.
So what? so what I would suggest, well, that may be impersonating an officer if it's not actually a police car. What I would suggest then, Chris, why don't we get a proposal for an engineering study? Let's get a proposal for that, and in the meantime, I would ask that you talk with Chief Austin about potential solutions.
Okay, fair enough, sure.
I mentioned to the mayor that I find that those, I guess the speed cameras that tell you how fast you're going, and they also have the speed limit posted above it.
Yeah.
Are very effective.
Yeah, they
because
are.
You don't realize how fast
Fast
you're
you're
going
going.
unless
That's
you're
what
looking at your
they had.
speedometer.
They put that outside my driveway, and like I said, it went from 44, and then about 2 weeks later, it was the average dropped to 37.
Yeah.
So it
Just
did
by having
work.
that,
It's
yeah.
just that the batteries die like almost every day.
Aren't they sun?
No, the one that you guys have aren't, and I would email the sergeant, and I would say the batteries are dead. Like, I even offered, like, I'll hold the batteries in my garage and change them myself because if it helps, like, I go to my mailbox every day and there's the sign. I'll see when it's dead.
I also noticed that Betsy Brown employed a different technique, which was
Slow down on Betsy Brown.
Yes,
Oh, the signs that are all over.
Yes.
How
Yeah,
about
I
the
think those were.
police?
I think those were privately done
Yes.
though.
They
They
were.
were.
Yeah, they were.
Or how about the police officer at Portchester off of King Street, because it goes down to like 10 miles per hour, and he sits out there all the time just pulling people over and giving tickets for going over in the
That's
school
like being
zone.
down south when you go from 55 to 10, and there's no way you can slow
Well,
down.
that's like Ride Play Land Parkway. Like, as soon as you get off the highway, you're like,
Yeah.
you see the sign, speed limit 25,
Yeah.
and you see.
But I
it's
feel like people also know, like by King Street School now, there's always a police there, almost always, and because
Yeah.
the speed limit drops, because there's a school,
Yeah.
people slow down.
Right. So, yeah, I
So-
think
Maybe there's
let's
a place
look
to
at the
station
engineering.
someone.
Let's discuss this with
Fair enough.
staff,
what-
and,
you know,
and we'll go from there.
whatever-
Okay.
Whatever using my property would help the police or help you guys use my property, I really don't care. Like,
You're 26, right?
126. Yeah, I
126.
share a driveway with 124, so it's 124 and 126. So there's a long driveway, and then it splits, and 126 is more towards the back. But yeah. So
Great.
whatever you can do.
We'll certainly take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you going to Winterfest?
Do you want a table?
So, any other comments from the public? Seeing none. The next meetings of the Board of Trustees are December 12th and then January 9th of 2024.
Wow.
So, one more meeting this year. So, thank you all and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
December 12th.
All right, so what am I getting?
Senior
Not-